South African journalist and editor Dianne Hawker joins me now to unpack this story. Dianne, good to see you. Now, President Ramaphosa is at the commission for the second time. What were the key aspects of his testimony?
Well, as you heard there, the president was really speaking about his role in government. His first testimony focused more on the policies of the African National Congress and how they might have affected state capture. What this focus was really about what was discussed in cabinet and if he in any way resisted state capture, because that's really been a big question that's been coming from the public as well as from critics of the Ramaphosa government to say, he was deputy president at the time of the state capture period. Did he do anything to resist it? He indicated to the commission that his approach was more to stay and see if he could turn things around from the inside, as well as to contest for the ANC presidency once it became vacant. But the question still remained about how much he knew and whether there was more that could have been done. And that was a large part of the line of questioning, particularly when it came to some of the parastatals such as Eskom, which we know was gutted by the state capture period, as well as Transnet and the Passenger Rail Agency, which is PRASA, which manages our rail system across the country.
Now, Dianne, the commission spent some time speaking about the issues at the Passenger Rail Agency, which you also mentioned. But what did Ramaphosa say about that in particular?
Yes, absolutely. There was quite a lot of time spent on the PRASA testimony. And we actually saw the Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo asking very direct and pointed questions to say that, he actually said what happened at PRASA was quite depressing. And he found it strange that the president seemed to not have much information about this, because the former board chairman of PRASA indicated that he had tried various avenues. He had written to Parliament, he'd written to the executive, he'd written to the ruling party. And as head of government business at the time, which is the role that the deputy president fulfills, he should have known something and been able to act. And essentially, Ramaphosa's response was to say that he found it strange that the former board chairman of PRASA found that he couldn't do anything because there were systems in place that could have aided him. But the fact of the matter is, with state capture, a lot of those systems were actually corroded or eroded by those in charge. So there was a lot of things that the president said he couldn't quite speak about because he wasn't directly involved in that. And he also indicated that there were silos working within cabinet. So other ministers would not necessarily know what their government counterparts were dealing with, which the commission found a bit strange.
Before now, the commission had been, criticized for being soft on President Ramaphosa. Did they change their tactics this time?
Yes, that was one of the features of his first testimony. People were saying that there was a lot more that the commission could have pushed Ramaphosa on, particularly since a lot of the decisions made within the ANC ultimately do end up becoming government policy. And I think the approach that the commission took this time around was a bit more firm. We saw some direct questioning from the commission chairperson to say, you've got to explain this because we don't understand it, as well as putting some of the testimony brought by other people forward to say, this person said A, B, and C. What is your response to that? So I think it was a lot more of a pointed cross-examination. And we're expecting to see that continue tomorrow. They did touch on Eskom and PRASA and only started on Transnet. And it's likely that they will continue with Transnet tomorrow and possibly move to also asking him about how things may have improved in government since the state capture period.
Before I let you go, one other big story that happened today in South Africa is the ruling party's suspended Secretary General is Magashule. He appeared in court today, and perhaps give us the highlight of that proceeding.
Yes, well, that was another important case, big case that we saw unfolding today. The former Secretary General of the ANC is facing significant charges. And actually, those charges emanate from the state capture inquiry, allegations of fraud and corruption relating to an asbestos contract where the government was meant to have paid a contractor to fix the homes of residents in the Free State that still have asbestos in their roofs. That money was allegedly stolen and the houses we know were not fixed. The court case was once again postponed. We've seen a number of postponements in this case, and they're expected to return to court on the 19th of October for that hearing. Hopefully by that time, the case will actually go ahead, because there's quite a lot of information and evidence in that case, and it's not likely to be a quick one for the courts to deal with, because there are several accused, I think more than 6 accused in that case, and very large sums of money that need to be dealt with via forensic reports and things like that.
Dianne Hawker, many thanks for your time.